Welcome to the Blossom Mindset, the path to blossoming into your fullest potential through everyday actions. I am your host, Lindsay, a behavior analyst, certified clinical trauma specialist, author, and entrepreneur. My passion is helping people create meaningful, positive change. Using a behavior analytic approach, I guide individuals to uncover their values, build self-awareness, and take intentional steps towards their goals and building their skill set. This podcast reminds you that you don't have to face life's challenges alone and is here to help you take the first steps towards meaningful change by increasing self-awareness and shifting your mindset with support and no judgment. Together, we'll explore topics like identifying your values, setting realistic goals, and learning practical tools to increase mindfulness and shift your mindset towards a more meaningful life. With guest speakers and actionable strategies, each episode helps you break through internal and external barriers, offering easy steps to create a life aligned with what matters most. This is the Blossom Mindset Podcast, your path to blossoming into your fullest potential, one action at a time. Let's get started. This is a friendly reminder that the information shared on the Blossom Mindset is for educational and informational purposes only. It is not a one-size-fits-all approach and is not intended to be a substitute for professional advice, diagnosis, or treatment. Remember, this is not a therapy session and is simply for educational purposes and serves as an additional resource for you. Your well-being is important to us, and reaching out for the right support is a vital step in your journey. Hello, friends, and welcome back to the Blossom Mindset. If you've been calling yourself lazy lately, I want you to take a moment to pause. Because what if you're not lazy? What if you're avoiding the discomfort? Today, we're going to gently unpack that and without shame. I hear this all the time. I just have no motivation. I'm so lazy. Why can't I just do it? That has been a topic I've seen coming up a lot lately, especially with a lot of my coaching clients. And I really want us to slow down and look a little closer because laziness usually isn't the issue or the root of the issue. So we need to delve into what's underneath it. Is it that fear of failing, that fear of looking stupid, that fear of rejection, the fear of not being good enough, or even the fear of starting and not finishing? Avoidance can feel like laziness from the outside, but internally it can be like that protection. Your brain is wired to ultimately avoid the discomfort, and that's not a weakness. That is how our bodies and our brains work. So oftentimes that avoidance can feel like that laziness, and it can appear to be that laziness from the outside. So it's important that we really delve into where is that quote laziness stemming from or that avoidance stemming from. And like I said, I've worked with this with a lot of coaching clients, especially recently throughout these winter months. And it can be a heavy topic of accepting that just how your outlook of yourself is, right? If you are saying I am lazy, you are ultimately saying that that is who you are at the core. But maybe let's take a step back too and reframe that to maybe I feel like I'm lazy, and delving further into again, what is that root of that appearance of lazy or the avoidance? Because here's what really can happen, or here's what happens is you might need to send that email, apply for the job, go to the gym, have the hard conversation, and you anticipate discomfort. It's not what you want to experience at that moment. It's uncomfortable. You may not want to send that difficult email to your coworker, your supervisee. You may feel the discomfort of applying for that new job because what if you don't get it? Or even going to the gym, right? Maybe I know for me, sometimes I avoid going because of the crowd at the hours that I may want to go. And it's not that I don't want to, it's not that I'm being lazy. I'm avoiding that discomfort. And you're anticipating it. And the more you're anticipating it leading up to it, that laziness starts or that avoidance starts. Even again, having that hard conversation, you are anticipating the discomfort of the hard conversation. So what do? You avoid it. and then you don't do it. You push it off. You keep pushing it off. That task avoidance. And then that perception of yourself is, I'm just lazy. And that may not be actually the case. So again, you anticipate the discomfort, so you delay. And in that moment of delay, that avoidance, what do you feel? That relief. That short-term relief in the moment is gone, right? You feel that relief, you don't encounter that discomfort, you're avoiding it. But later, what happens? The anxiety grows, the self-criticism gets louder, the task feels bigger. You didn't complete what you needed to, you didn't have that hard conversation, you didn't apply for that job. That avoidance shrinks discomfort long term, but it expands it long term as well. And that's what the trap is. You are avoiding, and that discomfort short term is decreasing, right? You're not experiencing that discomfort. But then long term, what happens is it becomes more uncomfortable. You have to sit with the discomfort even longer. And that's where we have to look at that reinforcement short term versus long term, that short term consequence versus that long term consequence. And it can be difficult to think about that in the moment. We want that short term relief, that short term avoidance, because it makes our systems kind of regulate a little bit in the moment. Because you're avoiding it, you're not having to sit with it. And then long term is when it all builds up. And from that ACT perspective, the goal is not necessarily to eliminate the discomfort, it's to increase that willingness and being able to accept that emotion, to move and work through it. Because discomfort is not danger. You can feel anxious and still send the email. You can feel insecure and still apply for the job. You can feel awkward in a situation and still show up. The question then shifts from, how do I feel more motivated, to what am I unwilling to feel? And that can be very powerful, because sometimes we can't just rely on the motivation. I think we talked about that in a recent episode, that consistency. But in these moments, what are you willing to feel, and how are you willing to sit with it and accept it and move forward? Because again, you can have all that motivation to want to start a new job, to want to handle the hard conversations. But if you're not sitting with that feeling and embracing that feeling, that can be again where that avoidance comes in and can overtake that power. It can overtake that power over you. So next time you label yourself as lazy, I want you to try this instead. I want you to ask, what feeling am I trying not to feel right now? What feeling am I avoiding? What don't I want to sit with? Is it fear, embarrassment, uncertainty, rejection? Then I want you to ask yourself, what would one small aligned step look like, even with this feeling present? It doesn't have to be a huge leap, just one step. Maybe it is researching a job. Maybe it is creating that resume. Maybe it's clicking send on the resume. Or maybe it's asking a friend or whoever it is that you have to have that hard conversation with, when can they have that conversation, or when can they talk, giving you almost accountability to follow through with it. Even looking at that discomfort of, you have so much to do, but everything just feels overwhelming. You have the dishes, you have the laundry, you have to clean up after everybody, you have to meal prep. That can also feel very overwhelming sometimes. And then you shut down and you doom scroll and you appear lazy, right? You are avoiding getting things done. And that root can be that feeling of, I'm overwhelmed, I have too much to do, my brain can't function. So again, ask yourself, what is one small aligned step that you can do this week with whatever it is that you are avoiding, that you are feeling like, I'm lazy or I'm being lazy, and move forward? Because growth isn't built by feeling ready, it's built by moving with discomfort. Two things can be true at the same time. That feeling can be present and you can still move forward, because you are not broken, you are not lazy, you are human. it comes with being human. There's going to be times that we may not do everything that we want to or that we expect to do, and it doesn't mean you're lazy. Thinking back to my childhood nickname was actually Lazy Lindsay. I had a group of friends. Everyone in the group apparently had a name that started with the first letter of their name. So the nickname started with the first letter of their name. And getting older, like looking back, I can see where that potentially may have stemmed from, but it also can create that negative perception because for a long time, I would have those thoughts and those feelings that I'm being lazy, but that's not true. Years later, undiagnosed ADHD or now diagnosed ADHD, it all makes sense. But when you're labeled from a young age that, oh, you're lazy, you should do more, you should do it, it can stick with you. So as adults, we have to unlearn some of the things that we learned early on and relearn and reshape our perspective of it. And your growth isn't about becoming fearless. It's about becoming willing to encounter those difficult moments, to move forward, to sit with those hard feelings, and to keep growing, to keep moving forward. That's what growth is. And you can't grow by staying comfortable. So until next time, think about and reflect on how you view yourself if you are feeling like, I'm lazy, I should do it, I need to move on, right? You are not lazy, you are just avoiding the discomfort. So take a moment, figure out what areas of your life you feel like you are being lazy with. Again, it is a feeling. You are not lazy. You may feel like you're being lazy. And figure out and identify what emotion you are avoiding, and then figure out and identify one actionable step you can take forward in those areas. So until next time, sit with the discomfort, stop avoiding it, and keep blossoming. Thank you for joining in on this episode of The Blossom Mindset with me. I hope that our discussion has inspired you to take actionable steps towards blossoming into your fullest potential. Don't forget, the best way to show your support is by liking, sharing, and leaving a 5-star review on this podcast. Feel free to drop any ideas for future podcast topics by commenting on my most recent Instagram post of this episode. If you are interested in additional resources or one-to-one coaching, check out our website linked in the show notes. I am so proud of you. By tuning in and listening, you just took one small, actionable step forward towards blossoming into your fullest potential.